The saddest meal I ever ate wasn't during a war or a disaster. It was a plain dinner on a normal night in a house that suddenly felt empty. I was 11 when my mother stopped coming home on time. At first, it was small things. Dinner was later, the stove stayed cold. The TV stayed on longer than usual. She'd sit at the table staring at nothing, her hands wrapped around a mug she never drank from. My father had died 6 months earlier, but grief doesn't arrive all at once. It creeps in quietly and takes pieces of you when you're not looking. That night, I remember being hungry enough that my stomach hurt. I waited until 9, then 10. Finally, I opened the fridge myself. There was almost nothing inside, half a loaf of bread, some ketchup packets, and a single microwave meal shoved in the back like it was hiding. Macaroni and cheese. The cheapest kind, I made it carefully, following the instructions like they mattered. When it beeped, I carried it to the table and sat in my father's old chair without thinking. The chair still creaked the same way. That's when my mom walked in. She didn't yell, she didn't say I shouldn't be eating so late. She just stood there watching me like she'd forgotten I existed. Her eyes were red and hollow, and for the first time I realized she wasn't choosing to neglect me. She was drowning. "You hungry?" she asked, even though the answer was obvious. I nodded with my mouth full. She pulled out the chair across from me and sat down, resting her head in her hands. I pushed the tray toward her, offering to share. She shook her head slowly. "No, that's yours." The mac and cheese tasted like paste, too salty, too fake. Each bite felt heavier than the last. I ate slowly, not because I wanted to enjoy it, but because I didn't want it to end. If the food was gone, there'd be nothing left to focus on. Just the silence, just the empty chair beside me. Halfway through, my mom started crying, quietly. The kind of crying people do when they don't want to be heard. I kept eating, staring at the table, pretending I didn't notice. I didn't know how to comfort her. I was just a kid, chewing microwaved noodles while my family fell apart. When I finished, I scraped the tray clean, not because I was full, but because wasting food felt wrong now. Everything felt wrong. That meal wasn't the saddest because of what I ate. It was the moment I realized I was on my own in a house with someone who loved me but couldn't reach me anymore. I've eaten worse food since then, fancier food too. But nothing has ever tasted as empty as that bowl of mac and cheese at our kitchen table, while grief sat between us untouched.